just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 165. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz.
That's right.
Make sure to get your name right today. The Brooklyn Nets are the 6 seed. The New York Knicks are the 5 seed right now. Knicks pretty much they have clinched the playoff spot, and at this point, they've pretty much clinched up the 5. And while the Nets, 2 up on Miami for that coveted 6 seed that they are hanging on to. Miami, the 7th spot. And basketball in New York, we got a 6, we got a 5, and the playoffs, as I have groggy voice, choke it up. The playoffs are on their way. What's up, Alex? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Knicks clinch a playoff spot, and that's always a good day, no matter what you feel about the franchise, no matter what you feel about the future, what they did last offseason. It's a great day when they clinch the playoffs. It's nice to be in the playoffs. And the Nets lose tomorrow. I think the Knicks clinch the 5 seed. So if that happens, that's pretty good news. So it's something to watch for Knicks fans tomorrow, just to get it done. Knicks have 2 games left. Where are they playing? They 3 games left.
3 games
at
left.
Indiana Wednesday, at New Orleans Friday, and home to Indiana on Sunday. So it'll be the Indiana Pacers Invitational coming up. So it'll be nice.
And the Nets magic number is 2. They have the tiebreaker versus the Heat. T-Wolves on Tuesday night. In Detroit on Wednesday, home for the Magic Friday, and then home for the 76ers Sunday. And I would assume at this point that Sixers game on Sunday that Philly will not be playing anybody, as Philly really much at this point has locked up the 3 seed. That's where they will be. So for them, I can't imagine them playing that game. If it comes to that, hopefully that game is a wash, and then we can get Knicks, Cavs, Nets, 76ers. You know, Kyrie Irving not in the playoffs, most likely. Maybe we'll get a Warriors Suns first round, which would be pretty interesting. And we'll see if the Obi Toppin show is a big first round success for the New York Knicks.
You know what's funny? If you just judged him on the last 5 games of every season, he'd be a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Last year, the last 5 games, and then this year, the last 5 games. And, you know, I put out a tweet the other day, and over 8 games he's played 30 minutes or more in his career. He's averaging 24.3 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, 2 steals, 1.1 blocks, only 1 turnover, and about 3 threes a game, 3.1 threes per game made, not attempted. That's pretty good. And as the 8th pick in the draft, and coincidentally played 8 games, over 30 minutes in his 3-year career now, that just shows that he has not had a chance, and it's scary. And that's why I am going to want to hold on to him, just because I am scared to death that he's going to go somewhere else and become the Halliburton of the Knicks, even though, like, when the Kings traded him to the Pacers, even though the Kings had De'Aaron Fox to fall back on, the Knicks had Julius Randle, who was not very reliable.
Yeah.
So we're here.
Well, that trade, I mean, for the Kings has worked out. It's worked out for both teams. I mean, look how successful Sacramento is. Sabonis, an all-star, having just quite the season. I mean, he has been fantastic. And if you're ever playing DraftKings and you need to make some money, take Sabonis versus the Nets. I don't care what team he's on. He seems to always have big, bad games. Yeah, I hear you on the Obi Toppin stuff, but we'll never know. I mean, you know,
hopefully we do.
You'll never know. At this point, it's like, I hear you, but it will never matter because he is, as a Knick at least, he's not going to be relevant. He could have big games. I shouldn't say that. Like, he might have a spot where he comes up big, but if you think he's part of your foundational future, I don't see that. Now, I shouldn't say relevant, because that would be poor job by me. He could go out and have big playoff games, but I don't think he's part of the Knicks' future plans. And I think that's pretty clear based on how the organization sees Julius Randle. You could agree or disagree with it, but I think it's pretty obvious that, you know, he's their centerpiece, him and Jalen Brunson, and that's how the Knicks view it. And And the way Tibbs coaches, Obi Toppin's gonna go to the Nets and he's gonna haunt you for the rest of your life.
Let me paint a scenario for you, though, right?
Yeah.
Over these last 3 games, Obi Toppin continues to dominate when he's playing over 30 minutes. And then the playoffs come and Randle's not ready and he plays really, really well in the playoffs. And they take the Cavs to 6 or 7 games and lose, or dare I say, even win the series with Obi Toppin because Randle is only being reevaluated in 2 weeks, not going to be ready to go in 2 weeks. So he's a very good chance he doesn't play in the playoffs.
I know that game.
What happens? What happens if Obi Toppin plays great over the last 3 games in the season and in the playoffs going into next season? What do you do if you're the Knicks?
Well, he's not going to be there.
That's
they
crazy.
made it clear. I don't know. I mean, I think the answer is pretty easy. I don't know. Julius Randle.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be so blunt about it. Like, oh, they got a decision on their hands. They made their decision.
Yeah.
They hate
and they got to pay quickly now. They got to pay quickly now.
Oh,
they gotta
sure.
Keep it. Yeah.
He's a priority.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more of a future than the third pick in the draft from that year. I mean, saying it like it is quickly, although he's been inconsistent. It's had games where he does go 2 for 8, 3 for 10. Clearly shows the ability where he can score, light it up, and he's comfortable out there with the Knicks right now. And he's definitely a clear priority for them, and foundational piece. And those young Knicks are playing well. So are some of the young Nets. I'll pose this question. I know your answer, but I think it'd be interesting. In 5 years from now, who do you think's the better player, Jalen Brunson or Mikal Bridges?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I would say, obviously I have to say Brunson, but like I honestly I don't know. That's a tough question. Brunson has played at more of a high level, I feel like, and in the playoffs, and has proven it for a little bit longer. At this point, as a number 1 guy, which is what he is with the Knicks.
Sure.
So I would have to say Brunson, but Bridges is legit, man. He's like really, really good. And we knew he was good coming into it. We watched basketball. It wasn't like we're not like surprised by how good he is in Mikal Bridges. We knew he was nice. He was on the Suns. He wasn't in the middle of nowhere like a Vancouver Grizzlies back in the day where you never saw him play like Sharif Abdul-Rahim. But he's like actually good, like, and you see him play. So I'm not that shocked, but it is like he is really good, and he's showing it now to the New York audience.
And Channing Frye made this point on our show last week, where he wasn't about Mikal Bridges, but it was more about Jalen Brunson, where it was if you give a guy a chance, giving him an opportunity, get him away, like a James Harden when he was in Oklahoma City, then goes to Houston and explodes on the scene. You're seeing that, not to the extent yet, of course.
No, he's on MVP, averaging a triple-double.
But you're seeing that with Brunson for the long haul of the season, where he's not next to Luka Doncic. And then on the net side, Mikal Bridges, it's a much smaller sample size because he hasn't been with the Nets the entire season like Brunson. But he's showing that he can score. He can get to all 3 phases of the game on the court, to the basket, mid-range, 3. And then, of course, he's defending at a high level. And he's showing that now that he's had the opportunity, out of necessity. And I think both of these guys have done that. And, for the net fan who likes to shit on Sean Marks, who's made plenty of mistakes, I do find it funny when everybody's like talking about how great Mikal Bridges is. Meanwhile, Sean Marks did pull off the deal. Now, you could say Kevin Durant forced his way out of there, but he forced his way where he got back Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 3 unprotected firsts. In the long run, that's going to work out for the Nets. Phoenix could clearly win a championship this year. I think that's evident. They could go in there. Durant looks really good now that he's back. He's played well, and Phoenix hasn't lost. But at the same time, you could look at it and see where things go and say you got foundational piece and Bridges and all these draft picks. Considering the circumstances, probably is realistically, it's as good as the trade could be.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's almost, I'd be a hypocrite if I'm like, oh, great job, Sean Marks, because it's like, it's the Sam Presti argument I bring up all the time. It's like you traded a superstar Hall of Famer, and of course you have a ton of draft picks. You're not a genius for doing that. What are you going to do next is the big deal. You know what I mean? What's going to happen with the next moves? What do you do with the assets that you accumulated? Do you just use them to draft players and hope that they become another Kevin Durant, or do you package them and try to make another trade and go faster? Like, that's where the money is going to be made for them. So we'll see.
That's fair. It's fair. It gets very quiet when he is the man that pulled the deal. So at some point, he did do it, but he just gets very quiet when all of a sudden it's like, oh, the trash shit he's done, this and that. But he did get all he he did pull off the deal, and he did get a guy, Mikal Bridges, and he does look really smart for doing it. I mean, he acquired him, and
Yeah.
I think now there'd be a lot of Net fans that would say, like, who would you rather have for the next 5 years, KD or Mikal Bridges? And I would argue
5 years. Yeah. I mean,
right. I mean, obviously for one season, I understand the impact KD could have, even though Mikal was just named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. But for the next 5 years, they've got him under a nice, decent contract where he's making around 20-21 a year. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. And I really pray that the Nets get the Sixers. And I'm not I'm not going to be Keith McPherson being like, we want Boston. I'm not saying any of that. But I do want the Sixers for a few reasons of just like, I think the Bucks are the best.
right.
And I'm sick of seeing the Celtics in the first round. At least there'd be some intrigue, right? Or
It's
Nets
different.
Sixers,
Yeah.
it's different. I dislike Embiid. They played him in the playoffs a few years ago. I don't want them because I think they could win, and I don't expect them to, but I want them because I think it would be a lot of fun and at least something different and entertaining that could get me a couple of games as I sit there and, hope for the unthinkable.
It's the unthinkable. Game 1, Nets Philly, and the starting lineups are started. All of a sudden, the lights go out, and then you hear a glass break, like Stone Cold music starts playing, and Ben Simmons comes out of the locker room and starts at point guard for the Nets.
No, for the Sixers,
and sweeps the net and sweeps the Sixers, and you would hang his jersey on your wall right there.
He's out for the year. No chance. That's over. Maybe we'll see when he comes back next year. We haven't talked about Ben at all. I'll say this about Ben. As Leon wants to join. I'm back, by the way, in Leon's territory. So if people have been wondering where's Leon been the last couple of weeks, if
you're watching on YouTube, Leon the cat, Mike's cat, just jumped right in front of the camera as he doesn't like Ben Simmons. Basically, he was like, "Screw your Ben Simmons point."
So the thought about Ben Simmons is everybody's like, "Oh, is he really hurt or is it mental?" Unfortunately, it's probably both. And if he's really hurt, and I do think that played into some of why you saw him be so hesitant around the basket, it's because he's not as physically as gifted. So it's in his head to do things different way. And when you have a combination of not being healthy and then having the mental side of it not work, it's a double whammy. Like you could be hurt, but have such a strong, kind of, you see the game, like the cerebral way of seeing it, like your mental game is so strong that you can overcome things as players get older. But if he's all about physical ability and now he's lost that, I think it weighed on his head where it was like a double whammy where, he was physically hurt and then it mentally impacted him as well.
Yeah, I think it's also, with backs, as somebody who has back issues, that when you don't do a lot, your back problem doesn't get better. It gets worse. And he hasn't done a lot. I mean, I know he works out. He's a pro athlete. He's still in shape, whatever. But he's not putting his body through the same regiment that he has been his whole life, playing basketball all the time. And all of a sudden, your back, not doing anything, it becomes worse. You get herniated discs. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And the mental issues led to that. So it's just the perfect storm of shit. And the Nets have just, inherited that shit, unfortunately for them. And, just is what it is, man. And they have to do the stretch provision on him this summer. It just has to happen.
They'll give him another chance.
Training camp, if he's still the same guy, you just got to get him out of there, man. It's just time. Unless there's somebody you can pick up. I don't know.
I would say, because there's no one you can pick up. He's untradeable. So
I mean, like with the cap space you create from doing the stretch provision, which is what is it like? You pay a portion of his contract and stretch it out over a longer period of time. But the people who don't know,
I think for me, at least give it another chance and see what happens. Mm-hmm. And then if it's not there, it's not there. But I think you owe it to the organization just to see what happens.
Right.
He goes in there, he's healthy, and he starts to play well. Maybe he's not the same player, and I don't expect him to be. But maybe he's some guy that helps out, right? And is a bad contract, but he at least helps your squad. I think you have to go that route at least. And if it doesn't work and then all this fails and it's November, December, then you just say, fuck it. Let's just see what we can do to get out of here. But I think they'll give it another chance because he makes so much money.
Yeah. Well, at that point, if you're already in December, you might as well hold on to him for the season because your roster's already set. And then you don't have to have him on your books on a stretch provision for as long as you would for 2 years.
One more year.
Yeah.
then it's off the books. But yeah, they're in a bad spot with him. So, I said I said the good Sean Marks getting Mikal Bridges, getting Ben Simmons back has not been good. And
Yeah. Seth Curry was okay. I mean, he hasn't been good lately, but he was
he's
okay.
He's streaky.
Yeah.
He's streaky.
He's not Steph. Yeah, exactly.
No, he's not Steph. And Andre Drummond is on the Bulls, I think.
And he fell off a cliff too, man. Another one.
Just was like 20 rebounds a game. He just
out of nowhere
can't even get on the court. Unlike his the starting center in Brooklyn, Nick Claxton, he's been great. Not a top 5 center in the league, but he's been great.
Speaking of net centers, a matchup that I'm looking forward to in the playoffs, and one that Mitchell Robinson has been on the bad end of most of his career, is against Jared Allen. The Knicks beat the Cavs in Cleveland, and it was a great win without Julius Randle, and it was awesome. And it wasn't close at the end, but Jared Allen wasn't there, and your boy Okoro wasn't there either. And it was it's a big deal losing your center. I know the Knicks were out Randle, so like you can play that game as well. Sure. But the Knicks, just like, I'm just so excited to see Mitchell Robinson in his first playoffs, because he obviously missed the Hawks series, and that was a big deal with Capella in that series. But I want to see what it's going to be like, Mitchell Robinson versus Jared Allen in a 7-game series, and see if he can, exercise those demons, because he just I don't have the numbers to back it up, but in my mind, the perception is like Jared Allen has always dominated Mitchell Robinson. Maybe that from a Nets perspective, you've seen the games, the same ones I saw, and I just feel like he always has.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that in the nitty gritty. And then, of course, when Jared Allen was on the Nets, that's already a long time ago, 3 years ago. So I don't remember the Jared Allen Mitchell Robinson matchups. I can tell you I do remember the Nets never losing to the Knicks during some of that time. But that is a huge deal. And the health will be a factor in all of this. And those are always some of the little things, because Nick Claxton, for example, whose offensive game has improved. He's looked really good lately with some of the shots he's made. But it's the defense, the rebounding, it's all that stuff that Jared Allen probably won't provide as much. And that anchors their Cleveland defense, because they're just so big and they have so much size with Mobley and Jared Allen. And that's a team in the Cavs that's really going to want to slow down the pace. Their whole thing is get it into the half court and beat you that way and defend. They have like the top 2nd NBA defensive rating, or they did at least when they played the Nets. So they're a team that's going to want to defend, slow it down. For them, that's the way to do business. Get Donovan Mitchell, get Garland in the half court, and beat you that way.
And that's the perfect antidote. The Knicks had the perfect antidote, and that's probably why they won. Where without Julius Randle, they're a free-flowing team that's running and gunning, and Obi Toppin's running the floor, and RJ becomes a little bit of the ball stopper, and that's the guy that slows it down a little bit. But it's not like Julius Randle, who demands the ball and everybody stand around and wait for me. I got to dribble, and make these shots in the paint. And he makes them more times than not. He's the all-star, but it really does ruin the flow of the offense. And you could see it over the last few games. Even without RJ Barrett, they won and beat the Wizards. I know the Wizards were without Porzingis and Beal, but still, it was just, and Kuzma. Yeah. So it was, but it's a good point. And I totally forgot about Kuzma. So I love the way the Knicks are playing without him, and this is my vision. Get rid of Randle and let's see what this team is. And you're seeing Obi take a step. You're seeing everybody get an extra time. And Fournier played yesterday because of RJ was out. Just good to have those guys ready. I know Fournier is not somebody you can count on, but he's a pro and he's always ready. You know what I'm saying? So it's just and he plays a role, like you were saying, you're hoping Ben Simmons could be next year, like the Fournier of the Knicks, where he sits on the bench and helps out every now and then sit down. That would be a dream for you, at least to get something out of him.
Yeah, but the difference is Ben Simmons was an all-NBA player. Right. Fournier was nice.
And the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, it's just a little different circumstance, which makes it even more I would trade Ben Simmons for Evan Fournier in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, no, the Knicks would never do that too.
Nick's Twitter would tell me, "Oh, it's a terrible trade for your team."
Yeah, I wouldn't even trade Derrick Rose for him or
for anybody.
Anybody.
Just the way. I mean, what a weird season to start, where he was showing progress. He had some really good games, and he was balling. And then the second KD went out, he was doing all right. He dipped a little. He was kind of hiding because the Nets were winning in that 18-2 streak.
Right.
But then when KD got hurt, he was exposed and hasn't played since the All-Star break.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like the ups and downs of the season for both franchises, nuts. The Knicks were 30-27, and then they trade for Josh Hart, and everybody's like, and I'm like, well, big deal. I was totally wrong about that. And ever since Josh Hart, they're 16-6. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. And it's there's a direct correlation there. It's not just like a coincidence at this point. He has made a major effect on this team, and he has taken them to a different level, which is insane. And props to Richard Jefferson. You know, he said it. He's been on this podcast, and he said it. He's like, Josh Hart's going to get the Knicks to the second round. We'll see, but he was right about the big impact that he has made on this franchise, and it's crazy. And you have to sign him too. So that's another guy you have to sign with quickly and Hart and Toppin. And like, there's a lot of guys now you got to pay, and you're stuck with that Fournier contract that you got to get out of. And you know, we'll see. You can't keep everybody. You know what I mean? So
yeah, Knicks are one player.
Right. And now with the Mavs are falling apart with Kyrie there, and you know, just another coincidence, quote unquote, that every team that Kyrie goes to, they just take a nosedive. But that's another conversation. But now the Mavs are so bad. The Knicks have their draft pick from the Porzingis trade, but it's top 10 protected. The Mavs are that bad that they're now in the bottom 10 somehow. But it's a lottery, so they can move back. Yeah, so we'll see. But usually when you're around 10, 11, you don't really move. So it'll be crazy, man. It's just going to be one of those situations where the Knicks aren't going to get the pick this year. They have no pick because they traded it for Josh Hart. They botched that Cam Reddish situation. Gave a pick for Cam Reddish, traded Cam Reddish and a pick for Hart. Hart has made such a big impact, so you can't complain. But now you have no draft pick this year.
Well, if you were to kind of backtrack and look at that, I mean, they made the deal for Cam. The Knox pick was a disaster.
Knox and a pick for Reddish is what they did.
And then you flip Reddish for Hart. Would you tell me?
Plus a pick. Reddish and a pick for Hart.
So would you tell me you go all the way back from where they started and what it's come to? It's an
would you trade Cam Reddish, Kevin Knox, and 2 first-round picks for Josh Hart?
For 16 and 6? I guess so.
I don't know. That's a tough. I don't think I would do that. I mean, I
understand that, but you also have to just backtrack. Like, okay, maybe Cam Reddish didn't work out, but you move from it and you make the deal. And I will say to Tom Thibodeau's credit, to Leon Rose's credit, he's done that. What's that?
That's the same thing.
He's done that when he made the mistake with Nerlens Noel. He realized that
Kemba,
you know, at least they just moved on. They didn't let it linger, and they just said, peace, let's move on from this. And, you know, Josh Hart's proven to be a fantastic addition, giving that New York grit, desire, you know, everything that Knicks fans love from the 90s when they were in their heyday. It's just so New York.
It's all about the 90s, always. Yeah, that's what
There's
it is.
so many things. Like, if you missed it, here were the 90s. Yeah, but I get it. They got my 2003 towel up, so I understand.
Can we not also, as Knicks fans, you know, everybody's trying to do these gotcha tweets like, oh, you didn't think they would be this good, and look at you. The Knicks are the 5 seed. Like, they're not that, you know, they're not a top 3 team that you really got to cash in these receipts. Number one. Number two, nobody knew Jalen Brunson was going to be this great. And if you said that you knew he was going to be this great, you're a fucking liar, or you're related to him and you're Rick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, even Leon Rose probably didn't know this. You know what I mean? He thought he was going to be really good, but not this. And then what am I up to, 3 or 4, whatever it is?
6.
I lost my train of thought too. But either way, you didn't know what was going to happen. The Josh Hart trade he wasn't part of the roster. So all the people that made these preseason predictions was not taking into account Jalen Brunson being this great, because nobody saw that coming, and you're lying if you did, and Josh Hart making this amount of impact and knowing that they would trade for him. So we started the season thinking Evan Fournier starting because he was. And then, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, stop this nonsense.
Let them, this is just their version of update. Let the people win. They got it right.
But it's got to make sense. And then now they're updating. Wrong. They're updating Jeff Van Gundy. Like, you don't fucking slander Jeff Van Gundy in the Knicks family. Like, you don't do that. He said he wasn't even being a dick before the season. The quote that somebody pulled up,
I saw
it was more of like, I don't know. I don't even see them making the play-in. I mean, they could, you know, the kind of a thing, but I don't know how good they are. You know what I'm saying? And he was kind of right. They were 30-27 in February. You know what I mean? That's kind of,
I think the problem too is that there's a lot of people that pick the Knicks, right, to be good.
Yeah.
And they say the same thing every year. So when it hits, they look like a genius.
Right.
So you've probably, been saying this for every season. Like, oh, it's this many wins. So then when it gets right, you're right.
Yeah.
There's some
2 out of 3
seasons
years
where
though.
it's-
You're right. If you took the
Yeah.
homer angle, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's-
exactly. Oh man, we need the Cavs to just end this.
No, we don't.
We
No,
need the
no,
Cavs to just get this in
no.
3. Make this
In
a best
3.
of 5. Screw it. Let's not even do best of 7.
Oh
Get
man.
this
Well,
in
once it's
3.
3-0, it's over anyways, though, right? So
Yeah, it's never happened before. One team I think brought it back to 7. I think it was a Dallas series in my head. But yeah, we just need the Cavs to end it, and we need the Nets to pull off a miracle and somehow beat Philly. Although it's funny, like I have more confidence in this Nets team if they were to play the Sixers. And they haven't clinched it by any stretch. I shouldn't fuck this up. They could fall to the 7. I get it. I have more faith in this Nets team versus the Sixers than I did a couple years ago with the feisty Nets.
with the Jared Dudley Nets, the culture Nets. Yeah.
I don't know. I first of all, the NBA has changed even that since then.
It's changed.
I don't. Yeah,
3
it's
years?
like all threes. I mean, it really it even is more crazy.
Mhm.
This net team, when they get streaky hot, they're incredible. Like you saw a little bit of the stretch versus Denver where they were like unstoppable versus Miami, unstoppable. They have these stretches where they just look unbeatable. So I don't think they're going to beat the Sixers in the series, but they'll get it. There'll be a game they get because they just play that well. They'll get a game because they have it all click. But you know, there's no chance in stopping Embiid. Harden will go crazy on them. They'll lose, but they'll get a game. They'll get a game.
Yeah.
And this is
They'll
coming
get a
from
game.
someone that has no optimism ever.
Right.
I think they could get a game maybe too. I really do.
And that's good. And that would be a progress. If they just don't get the game when you're down 3-0 though. You know what I mean? You got to get the game when it's like
I think they
1
get
or
like
2 and
I
make
think
them
I think they
scared.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a little fear into them, and then Embiid wakes up and wins the next 3, and then see you later. You know what I mean?
What would if the Nets beat the Sixers in a series? Your thoughts would be what on the Nets? Anger?
Impressed. Or my thoughts would be like they're lucky Embiid got hurt.
No, Embiid's healthy. Embiid's healthy.
Yeah. I'd be impressed. I would tip my cap to the Nets if they do that, because that's something that you don't see. But there's always one upset in the first round.
That's
it's
what I'm
never
saying.
like it's never like the 8-1, like that barely ever happens. Even the 7-2 barely ever happens. But there's always that one like 6-3 or 4-5 series that like the Knicks Hawks when the Hawks won 5.
You could just see it. Harden dribble, shoots, misses.
Fat. Right. Yeah. No.
Tobias Harris 1 for 11. Cam Johnson again 4-3.
Hey,
Someone's gonna pull this and be like, "You idiot! You're playing the Celtics at the play-in, or you fell out of the tournament and lost."
so let's say the Sixers beat the Nets in the first round, right? And at what point are you and the Suns win their first round series? Who are you rooting for more to lose? Harden and the Sixers, or Durant and the Suns?
See, it's a loaded question
Mm-hmm.
because it depends who the Sixers are playing.
Okay.
Let's say the Knicks go on some sort of legendary run.
The Knicks, yeah.
If the Sixers are playing now, that would have to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And for Knicks fans that don't,
fuck the Knicks. Yeah, you'd be like, let Harden go to the finals. You'd be like, yeah, no thanks.
Right. And for Knicks fans that don't know how it works, it's 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, 4-5, 4-5.
Well, it's 7 through 10, also first for the play-in tournament.
Anyway,
yeah.
My point being is, if it got to that, I'd have to root for Harden, and it wouldn't matter. Now, let's say, in my opinion, I think the Knicks will beat the Cavs. I think they'll lose to the Bucks. Oh, you hater.
Yeah.
If it's Bucks versus Sixers, then I would root for Milwaukee in the series.
Right. What about Celtics? Celtics Sixers at some point?
It would be the Celtics.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
It's the Celtics. They've won a bajillion times.
They win all the time. What's another year, right? Like
Philly, it's it's a combination, Alex. Eagles have been fantastic.
Phillies win.
Phillies.
Yeah.
So it feels like, feels in a weird way, like maybe they will be in the NBA finals and lose to the Warriors or something like that.
Harden versus Durant in the finals. Who are you rooting for there? Jeez. It's your worst nightmare.
Ugh.
You're not going to watch. That's what's going to
probably not. All of a sudden, Kyrie's on the Suns. Why not?
No, Kyrie would go and sit front row and just to be a dick. Like,
who do you think comes out of the West?
I want the Suns are scaring me now that Durant's healthy, but so it's hard to not pick them. But like it's hard to make that finals run 2 years in a row. You know what I mean? And even, that mental hurdle, it's really hard, especially when you lost. So I
What do you
don't
mean
think
2 years?
because the Suns lost in the finals last year, right? Didn't they? Or
No,
was
that was the year
that was
before.
the year before?
They
Oh,
got
okay. Then never
cooked
mind.
to the
I got
Mavs.
okay.
Remember
I
in that
confused it.
terrible game
So what was
7?
last year? Why am I drawing a blank then?
Last year was well, let's see, who won the title was the Warriors, and they beat the Celtics.
Warriors and the Celtics. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. The Celtics coach is
Suns
now
lost the year
gone, and blah
before
blah
to the
blah.
Bucks.
Yeah. Okay.
The Bucks beat the Nets in 7 in the second round of the East of the conference finals. Then they beat the Hawks. The Hawks that year beat the Knicks.
Got it.
Trae Young, the whole thing.
Yes. Got it. Got my years confused. So there was just not a very exciting finals last year. Warriors
No, it wasn't
and Celtics.
great.
Yeah,
It wasn't great. There's a couple good moments.
Yeah. It was whatever. Steph Curry show. But what was I saying?
The Western Conference final pick.
Oh, Western Conference Finals picks. I think that this is the year the Nuggets make a run, and also watch out for the Kings. But I think this is the year the Nuggets make a run because it's Jokic or whatever his fuck his name is. He is due. He is due a year where they're going to win a couple of rounds. And, he is that good that it's time. People are overlooking how good he is because he doesn't do it in the playoffs as much. But it also hasn't been his fault really much because Jamal Murray's been hurt. MPJ gets hurt. There's always something that's going on there. And now they're all healthy and they're rocked and they're ready to go. They got Aaron Gordon there too, as well as a borderline all-star. And they're ready to rock, man. I just look out for the Nuggets, man. That's all I'm saying.
There's so many good possible Western Conference matchups. If it was right now, Nuggets, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Lakers would be fun. Kings, Warriors would be fun. Suns, Clippers would be fun. Although I think most
Clippers
NBA fans want the Warriors to jump up to 5. So you get that Suns Warriors series.
Yeah.
And then in the East right now, you would have Bucks, Hawks, I know the whole play-in and everything. Celtics, Heat, Sixers, Nets, and then Cavs versus the Knicks.
Lots of storylines. Of storylines. 3 games left though. Every team, the West is so close from 5 to 11. They're all within 3 games. It's insane.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I've been so nervous going into the playoffs last couple of years.
Now it's just having fun.
No nerves. It would be just get the 6. Let's fuck some shit up. Let's get
house money.
House money, unless they're just dreadful.
Yeah. What's their record now since all the trades and everything?
I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. I don't know, but they've been streaky. They've been very streaky.
Well, it's tough,
win
man.
4,
You just get
lose
thrown
3,
together.
Win 5, lose 4. It's been very streaky.
Yeah. So we'll see. You win 4 in a playoff series, you win the series, So that's how it works. Just
how about your boy Spencer? How about your boy Spencer Dinwiddie?
What did he do?
It led the league in assists in the month of March.
Seriously?
Yes.
I didn't see that. That's funny.
He's been awesome.
Wow. Good for him.
He's been distributing the ball. Like the game you saw versus the Knicks, he was awful. But he's now become drive, penetrate, go to the basket. He's been really good. He's played really well.
Do you think Jared Dudley comes out the first game in Brooklyn in the playoffs and throws up the ceremonial first jump ball or something? He's
the assistant coach on the Mavs.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's been there for a couple of years. He's an assistant in Dallas.
Don't keep up with Jared Dudley. He actually blocked me on Twitter a couple of years ago.
Well, I don't blame him.
So I'm not up on my Jared Dudley news. I'm having a rough show here, man. I didn't know what the finals was last year. Now Jared Dudley, I don't know.
I don't think as much. But it's always so funny. Like, someone blocked me. It's like, yeah, you're probably an asshole to them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I was, but maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. But you weren't like, hey, Jared, love your headband.
Hey, Elmer Fudd. How's it going?
You think you're saying something mean? I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Jared Dudley is in Dallas.
He's one of those guys though that blocks a lot of people. I'm not the only one. He's one of those. I block people only when people are cross the line and get to that point. So I get it. You know what I mean? But I didn't cross the line. I'm not gonna curse out the guy's.
Yeah, but I could also understand too if you're addicted to Twitter.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just don't want to see this anymore.
Right. You don't want to see this person.
I mean, I mute a lot of people.
Yeah. But then when you mute a lot of people, when you mute them, you still see you see tweets like, oh, this tweet is hidden, hit view to see it. And I can't not hit view.
Sure. But it doesn't show up in your timeline.
Right. At least you don't see their stupid shit over and over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with the audience. There's been times where you'll put me in a tweet or something, and then I'll go on my feed and it's like 6 hiddens. And I'm just like, okay, I guess this is Nick related.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
look.
funny.
I look too. I'm not saying I don't. I
Mhm.
also look,
Yeah.
but it just gets out of your timeline, and I don't need that when I'm trying to be in a mental good space.
Right. And you might just be like, taking a shit and you want to just look at your phone. You don't want to be like trolled or like taunted by some
No.
nonsense. You want to just be happy and like,
Or
see something funny.
Yes, I clearly I only look at Twitter when I poop.
I mean, maybe you do. I mean, that's
No,
what a
I
lot of
look at
people
other
do.
times.
So
I play Wordle
you
in the
play
morning.
Wordle? That's
I
your
think
main
probably,
thing?
yeah. You
I've
play?
been playing SimCity, actually, has been what I've been playing. It gets me
I
out of
play
my world.
I play Wordle in the morning. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
fun.
that's cool. What do you think how Aaron
You're
Rodgers
not interested.
is still on the Packers?
Oh God. Yeah. I think
Forgot about it, right?
he'll be a Jet. He'll be a Jet. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Give
Just
it
got to
to
keep
say his
reminding
words.
people, hey, he's still
I
on the
know.
Packers.
No, I know. Just he'll be a Jet. He'll be
All
a
right.
Jet eventually. He will be.
Let's see.
He's actually in the green room. He's here.
Is he?
Oh yeah. Want me to bring in Aaron? Actually, he's in the dark room. The green room. No, I think he'll be there eventually. I mean, I understand the fear. I get that and how it could creep in someone's head. I could understand that. Obviously, it's been a minute, but I think it's just a back and forth game, and someone will give in, and it's only a matter of time when it happens. He's not going to stay there. That'd be craziness.
Yeah, maybe he just says, you know what, fuck this, and retires. This is I'm fucking done. Fuck you
Fuck
guys.
this, and I'm done.
Yeah, fuck everybody. Fuck all of you. And
what would you do? Who's the quarterback?
Fuck if I know. I would go for Lamar Jackson, but they're not going to do that. So like, it's just gonna be Zach Wilson again. You already lost Mike White, and now
oh my god,
yeah,
that'd be crazy.
Then I'm just have no excitement for the season whatsoever. If it's Zach Wilson,
no, you'd be in such a bad. I mean, you might
I'd be like draft the quarter, draft Richardson is what I would say.
Yeah,
give me that
that's
kid,
tough to have.
That athletic freak. If he drops to 12 or 13, whatever they are, and let's go.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But they're lame ducks now, and that's the problem with lame duck coaches and executives, where it's like they're on a hot seat. Maybe not lame duck is not the right term. They're on the hot seat, so they're desperate. So they're gonna make desperate moves because fuck the future, fuck the fans in the future. It's about us, and that's all they care about is themselves. And that's what keeps happening with the Jets. And then Woody Johnson's gonna do it all over again. He's a hire first-time defensive coach and wonder why he can't develop a quarterback. Well, it's just the same fucking shit over and over.
At least
besides Adam Gase, which was not the person to hire that was offensive. That was a one offensive guy you hired was a psycho. So yeah, whatever. Anyway,
at least your Knicks didn't have the same force. Didn't make the same mistake, and they kept their future picks, so they didn't get Donovan Mitchell. So you could congratulate your Knicks for not doing the same move.
Congratulations, and like. Mark Berman from the Post, remember the old beat writer from the Knicks? He's now retired. He had a tweet that I loved, and I have to find it because it's so funny. It's so perfectly put, and it's so Berman. And if anybody who follows him knows what I'm talking about, or just knows about him, hold on, I can't find it now.
You sent it to me earlier.
Did I?
I was like, well, I don't get it.
Hold on, I can find it in a second. Here it is. Okay, he goes. Let's enjoy the Knicks return back to the playoffs. Let's not overstate it with headlines of being quote unquote ahead of schedule. 2 years ago, this team was 4th seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs with home court. Now they shall be number 5. So it's like you want to be mad. It's like, where's the progress? You were 4, then you were nothing, and now you're 5. So is this really progress? He's trolling, clearly, just being a dick. Like he's probably sitting in Florida in retirement on the beach and just wanted to drop a bomb on Twitter because there's nothing going on.
Well, I mean, when you change the timelines, you can do whatever you want,
right?
So it's easy, and you could be like, well, that first year. We weren't as good as we were supposed to be. So it's really starting last year. So technically we're now ahead of the curve because it doesn't start, even though we got here 3 or 4 years ago, it starts from last season's downfall to the uptick. So that's really when this happens,
right.
So you change your alignment. Now, who cares? Who cares? Live in the moment. You're the Knicks. You're going to have a chance to win a playoff series versus Cleveland. And then you go to the offseason where you can, make something of it.
Again, let's see what happens. Blind hope. But it's just funny. It's like you can't ever say you're not on schedule if you create a new schedule because then you're on that schedule. So you're still on schedule, but it's not the same schedule. But you can't say that I'm not on schedule. This is my schedule. Like, what are you talking about? So
the Knicks are a Ponzi scheme.
They're back, bro. They're back.
Oh,
They're back.
I don't
We
even
are
know if
back.
I just yeah. I'm just like ready for it. I'm ready for the shitstorm. Here
You
it
ready for
is.
people to be dancing outside after winning game 3 after being down 2-0 in the series? That's gonna happen.
I'm ready for the series. I'm ready for the sweep,
Uh,
and then that game 1 win in Milwaukee, and I'm gonna go fuck.
yeah.
And then Nets
But
will be
I
in the
never got
second
that
round
chance,
versus
man.
Boston.
Knicks Nets when they had Durant. I never got that chance to play him in the first round, win that first game that we talked about on this podcast for
Yeah,
164
never
episodes.
happened.
Where I was like, I just want to win that game 1 and just have that 2 days of like, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like your fear. That's what I really wanted. Never got that.
No. Now you have me just being like, all right, I hope we're
Yeah,
the
whatever.
6th seed,
Yeah.
and let's have
Good
some
for
fun. I'm like, I'm ready for a nice weekend game.
Yeah.
Relax, watch, enjoy it, and just be like, all right, let's see what happens, and bring it back to Brooklyn.
Here we
MVP
go.
chance for Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting going on other podcasts. I'm getting shit on them.
Yeah. Knicks recap.
Right.
Shout out to Troy. That
Was not nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually posted it on the feed if you see it. It's not Mike's not in that episode, but we tease Mike a lot. So if you want to hear an all Knicks episode of us teasing Mike and talking some Nets
I
also.
thought you were nice. So you were saying there's a lot of Net fans. There might be more Net fans now than Knicks fans now. I mean, you said it.
I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
That's what I heard.
See, that's a fake quote. That's
Not
AI.
true.
That's AI.
Well, I mean, yeah. But you did say they've grown in popularity.
They have.
It's
They
so
have.
hard for Knicks fans to say that.
It's just a fact, man. It's just like I don't know why it's not 5 years ago anymore. It's just not. I mean, the Durant and Kyrie took them to a different level, and they're there now. And we'll see if it still survives. But right now, there's a lot of people who are, let's say, you're 16 years old, and you've seen the Nets in Brooklyn is all you really remember. And you've seen the Knicks, and they've had 3 years, and the Nets had all these stars. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, that is what Robin Lundberg said. I like quoting back some guests where he said, the one thing that those guys
on this podcast,
podcast was he gave them equity, and he gave them a little popularity that they didn't have.
Right,
they got from having 2 mega stars together.
Right,
that did help.
Not like Kevin Garnett. It wasn't that.
Dude, Pierce, they were all. First of all, they were not the same level of star. Garnett maybe in Minnesota, but they were they're just different.
Right.
Still past their prime. Especially
Durant and Kyrie are global celebrities.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And Kyrie, the whole we could finish with this, but the whole Kyrie thing in Dallas, I just, I'm shocked at how bad they've been.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd be this bad. But Dallas really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
They not signing Brunson. That really just triggered it all. Especially
trading for Porzingis started really fucked them too.
I mean, they got to the Western Conference Finals last year. With Dinwiddie
Brunson.
and Brunson and Dorian Finney-Smith. All those guys are gone. All their depth is erased.
Yeah.
Spencer,
they panicked.
They panicked, and now it's like, what do you do? I mean, you basically rebuild, but then they're going to be. The problem too is, if you let Kyrie walk, or say he goes, you have Luka and nothing. So,
still a good start.
Yes, it's still a good start, but they're going to be dreadful.
Yeah, and you're wasting.
And then he's going to want out.
Yeah,
you can just see the dominoes beginning.
And you have no draft picks.
They gave.
Well, they have the one this year. They're going to have. Yeah.
Well, you don't know what's going to happen with this draft pick, but you can.
They're hoping for Wemby is what they're hoping to win the lottery right now, and then save themselves with Wemby and Luka.
But you can see it beginning. Like the Kyrie effect is taken. It started, and you can see what's going to happen. And then
it's like a disease.
It's crazy.
You need to be vaccinated from Kyrie. Get it?
Yeah, I get that. Hey, that's true too.
I made myself laugh. How about that?
You see this Nets roster, and it's a joke, but starting the trio of Johnson, Bridges, and Dinwiddie have played more minutes than Harden, Kyrie, and Durant did, and that just says that those guys never had an opportunity to actually play together to be great. And it wasn't anything that the net organization did. It was just the guys were hurt, and Kyrie Irving had a different agenda at times. And
most of the time, yeah.
They played with each other post All-Star break. That trio had a season and a half. That's so awful.
Yeah, they didn't take it seriously. They didn't care about playing. They didn't care. They're like, let's show up in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they get to the playoffs and their bodies can't handle the heat, and they get hurt because they weren't in shape from the season. It's just so stupid.
No, I don't know. I mean, Harden.
Well, Harden's was a freak thing, but like,
so Kyrie fell on Giannis's ankle on going for a jumper. So I don't know if I agree with that part.
Fine.
It was bad luck, but
I exaggerated. I'm sorry. Yes.
Well, it's okay. It's bad luck, but at the same time, that was just part of the deal, man.
Hey, maybe if they were a step faster or slower from playing in the season, they wouldn't have fallen on that ankle. You know.
Well, that's the net fans hate Giannis. Dirty player.
Dirty player.
Do some of that shit. It's annoying.
Yep.
He's annoying. Well, his brother's worm annoying.
Hey, listen, I don't hate them, so it's okay.
Oh, I'll love them, and I'll love Giannis when he's going to the Garden. Don't get me wrong. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'll be a big Antetokounmpo fan.
Let's get there. Let's get there.
Oh,
let's get there.
yeah. All right. I'm just saying if it happens.
Yeah.
All right. This has been Bad Weather Fans. I forgot what episode number. 165.
165.
Don't forget, everybody. You can find this podcast in all spots. And if you want to see the video version, head on over to YouTube. We've had some awesome guests that have come on in the last couple of months. Channing Frye, Ron Artest, aka Meta World Peace, Chris Childs, Kerry Kittles, Richard Jefferson, just to name a few. So highly recommend checking out our back catalog of guests. Go over there, listen to them, and enjoy some good Net and Nick dialogue. Even if it's not exactly about this second in the playoffs or going towards the playoffs, you still get a lot of great content, a lot of great stories. So I highly recommend checking all of those podcasts out. We will make sure next week to announce our winner from the Final Four, who will be joining us on the Bad Weather Fans podcast. And then, we have something in the works to do a big playoff preview type podcast, which I'm excited about. I'm looking forward to these playoffs more than I have in the last couple of years, just being honest with everybody. A little excited about it. So there you have it. Bad Weather Fans, 165 of these bad boys, Alex. Enjoy your week. Enjoy watching your Knicks in some meaningless basketball games, and I'll sweat out trying to get the 6th seed.
Yeah, and happy Passover to all my Jewish friends, and happy Easter to everybody who celebrates that as well. And it's going to be a fun, happy family week, and hopefully the Knicks and Nets make you happy. And the Nets lose tomorrow, the Knicks clinch to 5, so that'll be happiness.
Sound like a Christmas card. I hope happy well wishes to your family. I hope the Knicks and Nets make you happy.
Yes,
from Mike and Alex of Bad Weather Fans.
That's right.
See you, everybody.